All right, everybody, welcome to Survive to Thrive. I'm John Dietz, and today we have our very special guest, Karen Johnson. Now, Karen is a rock star real estate agent. Speaking of working hard, it's going to be hard to find somebody who outworks this woman. She is just a beast when it comes to work ethic. Karen is also past president of the second largest board of realtors in the United States. I hope I got that right because I've got it wrong before. Third largest. I knew I'd get it wrong. So past president of the third largest board of realtors. And I don't want to give away anymore. I want Karen to share her story. So Karen, welcome to Survive to Thrive.
Good morning, everyone.
So excited.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah.
What a pleasure.
Yeah. All right, guys, get pen and paper, get ready to take notes. So Karen, my first question for you is tell us about your journey. How did you get started? How did you get where you are today?
Well, I never wanted to be a realtor. I had no respect for realtors. I was on the lending end of things since I was 18 years old. Started as a closer, processor while I was doing my bachelor's in finance in New York. I worked for a title company. I got into processing in the early 90s for residential and very competitive with myself, not with anyone, always with myself. So our goal was 40, I would get 60 every month. There was an opportunity to get into the commercial department, which was like pulling teeth back in the day to get into the commercial department. So old school bank, small bank in New York. And I was very social, very friendly. I had the finance bachelor's and the work ethic and the opportunity to get involved in the commercial department. I started as an analyst, worked my way up to an underwriter, and I did mixed use property from fourplexes, mixed use properties in Brooklyn to industrial properties on Long Island. And I did that for several years when Washington Mutual came into New York for the first time. I was their first underwriting hire, which was a huge step and huge company throughout the nation. The first year in New York, I underwrote $1 billion in multifamily. Got awarded top underwriter in the country for many years in a row. I'm from Trinidad. I grew up in Trinidad, and I moved to New York at 17 to go to university by myself after my dad passed. So I learned to hustle. When I left home, I did not know how to make a cup of tea. Totally, my parents did everything for me. I was totally helpless. But I knew I had that work ethic from my parents. Just the ambition and the drive to make sure, to be confident in yourself, to know that you're not competing against people, to know that people are your friends, but you learn to figure out people. So people always says, oh, well, Karen, you have so many degrees and you have a bachelor's, you have a master's. Well, I think it's a combination of being able to respect people because you treat the janitor the same way that you do the CEO. I think people respect that. And you have to be authentic. It's extremely important part of being successful is being authentic because people could see through BS. Because sometimes when you get these spiel and you wonder, like, why did I lose this listing to this person? And he's such a BSer. I'm very real also. So never ask me my opinion. I always give it to you. John and I have bumped heads in that way. He was taken back when he asked me a question and, you know, I gave him a real answer and I was like, no, it's not to hurt someone's feelings, but it's just to be sincere about it. And we talked about it. It's not necessarily meaning to be implied as something mean, but to explain the situation as to what it is. So because I'm from the Caribbean, the New York thing was not very good for me. After 15 years, the weather, Florida always seemed to be very attractive. My husband and I have been coming here for 20 something years on vacations, checking out houses. And my company knew that I wanted the opportunity and they created a position in South Florida for me and moved us, unpacked us, came to Florida. And I was like, wow, these people are lazy. The work ethic was deplorable. And I remembered having the first hurricane within first 3 months of being here. And the next day I went to work and they were closed. I was like, we have power, we have water. It's safer here than your house because you have no power, and no one came to work for like a week. And I was like, well, this is just not going to, I just wasn't happy at the moment of what I was doing. An opportunity came. I went to, it's now Capital One, but it was Greenpoint Mortgage, and I managed the Southeast Division of Commercial Lending. They tried it for several years. They were not able to be successful. And basically, I was a production manager. So basically telling the salespeople and the underwriting, working with them to make commercial deals that made sense. So teaching residential brokers that, hey, it's not brain surgery, because a lot of commercial people like to make it seem that commercial is so difficult that you can't do it. But if you teach people, there's the opportunity to make more money. So there was 3 simple formulas. My job was to teach people how to do that to grow the business, and working through the process and making square things fit in round holes, being able to think outside the box. That happened. Market crashed. I was 6 months pregnant with our first child after several losses. And my husband said, and I got a job right away, hated it. I was foreclosing on people's properties and got paid for 2 years by 2 companies, but was not fulfilled, because I think it's really important not to be driven by money, but to be driven by passion. When you're passionate about something, money comes. So sometimes people look at things and just like, oh, this is a dollar amount. You treat a $1,000 commission check the same as you do 100,000, because that $1,000 have led to commissions that I receive now. My husband says, oh, you should be a realtor. I was like, I don't want to be a realtor. They're like a used car salesman, and I don't want to do that. I have no respect for it. And I went and I got licensed, did it, actually liked it a lot. And because I had a residential and commercial background, formal training, I was able to do both. In 2009, when I started, I was the 40,000 foreclosure condo queen. And that's where I started my journey. So people now look at me and said, oh, Karen, you're so lucky. You sell $1 million property. Is your average 1.5? How do you get these clients? No one looks like you. No one acts like you. No one's from your circle. Well, it's from those $40,000 condos that I have developed my business to be where it is. I've had lots of failures as well. So if anyone says that, and I think it's really important to be humble and down to earth and be able to speak to people, teach to be authentic, and relationships is the #1 reason why you would be successful in this business.
Good stuff. Oh my goodness. Karen, thank you so much for the honesty. And I should have warned everybody before I introduced you, get ready for honest truth, right? Because that's the Karen Johnson I know and love. And there's been times when you and I haven't exactly seen eye to eye. True story, right?
True story.
Okay. So Karen, what's one of the best decisions you made that's enabled you to take your business to the next level? Now, know that everybody that is on this Zoom call with us right now, they've heard me teach from on E to P and breaking through the ceiling by becoming purposeful. And you've lived that many times in your real estate career, but pick one that has had an impact on taking you closer to where you are today. So
there would be several instances, but one of them I could definitely see. Again, my husband said I should be speaking to John Dietz, because someone that he knew, Marcus Edwards, said, hey, Karen should be. I was at a small brokerage. I went to a small boutique brokerage when I got licensed, because the person had a CCIM, and I thought it would be really helpful, which was a great opportunity. I was there for 6-7 years, comfortable. Like most realtors, don't want change, no interest in doing anything else. And they actually set up a call with me and John, spoke a few times. I went in, spoke to him, and he gave me the opportunity to be the managing commercial director at the office. And I get calls all the time. I usually say I'm not recruitable. And I was open-minded. I was open-minded for an opportunity, and I saw all the opportunities in front of me. And there is a lot of things that I leave on the table because you have to pick and choose sometimes. But there's a lot of things that I did wrong that if I knew now I would look back in time and would have done things differently, but that would be a big pivotal point for me. Also, a second very pivotal point for me was because I always had a quest for knowledge and I wanted to be the best realtor. My first year as a realtor, I was doing really good in banking because I was very incentivized. I was probably making 300 to 400,000 back then with bonuses. And my first year in real estate, and I remember JP saying to me, and he's on this call, so who leaves a secure situation for something that's not secure? I said me, because I'm no longer fulfilled. And my first year in real estate, I went from making 300 plus to 25,000. And I was okay with that because it was hard earned. My second year was 75. My third year was 175. And I've never looked back, and I have surpassed that banking amount. My best year was probably 3 to 4 times the amount of my banking amount. Not because I took that opportunity, because I took that chance. So early on, when I got licensed, I decided to get very involved in the board, meaning going to classes, because I had the understanding. I had my master's degree in finance. I had my bachelor's in finance. I had all the underwriting, the mortgage side of things, but I didn't understand. I wanted to understand the mindset. So I thought education was the best way to do so. Went to every class, and the staff at the board is like, wow, you're pretty smart, you should join us. And I somehow got recruited into committee early on. And I think it was 2011, I was the president of the commercial division for Fort Lauderdale Realtors Association. Then we merged. Then the opportunity came where we have 50,000 MLS subscribers. I'm heavily involved in board things. I'm the past president from 2 years ago. I'm on the finance committee for a National Association of Realtors, which is 10 of us throughout the country. And it's a really high level position that is very intimidating. However, those opportunities create networking opportunities, because we hear all the time, why should I network with realtors? On Florida Realtors, I've been the chair of several committees as well. So I probably spent about 40 to 50%, probably this year, maybe 30 to 40, before 60% of my time with these board things. But guess what? Whenever a realtor anywhere in the country asks, and I'm heavily involved in RPAC as well, which is investing in political action for realtors. They have a website and they have a Facebook page. Hey, I need a referral in Broward County or in Boca or in Parkland. Check out Karen. So other realtors send people to me. Other realtors say, hey, you know what? And my thing is that we're here to work together. When we work together, our clients are happy. When our clients are happy, we have a good reputation as realtors. So I partner with a lot of people on commercial deals because they may have the relationship that I don't have, but I have the expertise. So I just closed 3 multifamilies because of that. And it was going to be a referral. The girl called me up and she says, hey, I trust you. Can I give you a referral? And I said, I know the girl, and she's a really hardworking person and she has the relationship. So I was like, hey, Amy, why don't you partner with me on this deal, which most people don't do. And I was like, we'll work on it together because it's a relationship she has for 15 years. And she deals with the relationship part of it, and I get the negotiating part of it, dealing with the other realtor and getting it closed. And we just closed $6 million because of it. And everybody's happy. And guess what? She's out there looking for commercial deals to call Karen Johnson on.
That was powerful. All right, everybody, write it down, write it down, write it down. Karen, we learn from our mistakes. I know I have. And just, if you would, pick one thing or talk to us about what you've learned from mistakes you've made. If you had an opportunity to do something over again, what would you do differently?
So my number one mistake is my database, or actually formality of a database. And sometimes you get so taken into real estate that you don't find the time to nurture it. So I found other ways to supplement it. Like I'm big on Facebook. I post because sometimes damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's either people is like, oh, you're no longer in the business, or if you post too much. So it's a very fine line. But if I had the opportunity to know what I know now, I would have created a better and started my database earlier. So, because sometimes I leave things on the table that would have been my opportunity, and it's because of me. So the opportunity that you have there, sometimes your failure shows you opportunities, is to find a way to stop right now and correct that and
Mm.
start working on it. So, and I don't think anything is a failure. I think failure is just another door closed for something else to open up. So this business, in the morning, you have a win. 10 o'clock, you felt that you're the biggest loser ever. You're having the worst year of your life. And by 5 o'clock, you're like the happiest person again. So you have to be able to balance that. I have a bucket system. I call it a bucket system. Because I feel that life is worth living and we need to live it to every moment. They call me the selfie queen. I take pictures with everyone. And the reason I do that is when their birthday comes, when a special occasion comes, I post a picture with me and them because they feel special. But not because of that. Like when my dad passed, I was 17 years old. I have 3 pictures of my dad. So I think it's really important to make life and understand those things. And I try to implement those things with my son. But he's 15 and parents know nothing. The challenge of being a parent. But I think it's really important to be able to learn from your mistakes and to be able to make people feel special.
Love that. All right. So going to take a quick break here and just remind everybody, if you have a question for Karen, please put your digital hand up in the air. I'm going to be breaking for questions here in just a few minutes. And please raise those hands. If you're thinking, well, I'd like to ask a question, but I don't want to, raise your hand. I want to call on you. Karen, you talk a lot about family, and I know JP, I know Josh, and I know how important your family is to you. I've had the opportunity and the privilege to meet your mom and spend some time in your home, and always look forward to those opportunities. Talk to me about family, because it's clearly important to you.
So I am extremely, extremely fortunate because my mom gets to live with us. We're the ones. So I get up every morning. She's away right now, but I get up every morning to my coffee made, 2 soft-boiled eggs. My husband's lunch is packed. I'm very fortunate. But guess what? It's because we respect and we treat family the way that you should be, because we're a big team. Because anything that it's never my victory, it's our victory. So that's what I was saying about my bucket system. You cannot neglect your buckets. I have friends, and I'm not one of those girls only when they break up with someone or they have a situation, think they have their girlfriends. I had a 50th birthday last year. John was there. Several of really great occasions he's been there. I had friends from preschool that came from Trinidad. I had friends from Canada. We had 350 people there. And a lot of people was really, really mad. And I said it was a surprise, and JP made the list to blame it on my husband. Because the thing is that I have my clients become friends. My neighbors are very involved in my community. I go to city meetings. Yesterday, I had lunch with my state rep, who is a very good friend of mine. I just think it's really important not to just focus on business. You need to focus on your friends. You need to focus on your community. You need to focus on you. You need to have that mental release, find whatever it is that gives you that. And you have to focus on your husband in a separate bucket, and or your wife or your partner, your children, your family. But like, I do things, and this is why we work. Like, I went away in May to a cousin's wedding, and it was just wonderful being around my cousins and family, because that fills your soul. Of course, I was negotiating deals half the time, but I was in that situation where just getting that love and appreciation and spending time with family was really important.
That's awesome. By the way, on the 50th birthday party, I appreciate the invitation, although I still think it was really Monica was the reason that we were invited. Yeah, Karen's nodding her head. Yeah.
She's amazing. She is amazing.
I agree with that. Yes, hard worker. Monica is Karen's transaction coordinator. So just a real quick story because I'm going to go to questions. Karen and Monica have been working together now for 3 years.
3 years, yeah.
Yeah, boy, I got that one right. Good.
Mm-hmm.
And they get together, they go out to lunch, they celebrate holidays together. And every year, Karen does what great entrepreneurs do. She recognizes the people that she's in business with, and she gives gifts. And, you know, a $50 dinner gift certificate would be appreciated. And Karen doesn't do that. She goes way above and beyond and wows the people that she is in business with. I can just tell you, and you know this, Karen, Monica came home crying, telling me the story. And you've got a raving fan in her, and she'll never work for anybody else. Karen.
She's extremely loyal, fantastic. And I was one of those realtors who thought I had to do every single thing on my own. And John, sometimes in our meetings, one-on-ones, he'll say, you need help. And I was like, you know, people's work ethic, blah, blah, blah. And me and Monica interviewed each other for several years before we decided that we were going to work. And my life has been 100 times better because of her, because she handles the things that I don't like to do. And it works perfectly, but she also has my mindset. She treats every deal like it's her own mother, brother, sister. We take things seriously, and we just jive together. So she could finish my sentences and I can finish hers, which is great.
Love that. Okay, Jessica, your hand was up in the chat. Please take yourself off mute. And welcome to Survive to Thrive, by the way. Glad you're here.
Thank you. Karen, I'm curious, what do you like to use for your database? What have you found that works well over the years?
Good
So yeah, that's fantastic. And then I'm in search of that perfect one as well. So right now, I am very basic, old school, and I have an Excel spreadsheet to use to upload everything because I'm like so fearful of like, okay, well, if I use this, because everyone's always trying to upsell you. So I am very old school and I'm trying to find that perfect one. And then also everyone's making these recommendations, but when you look at their business, you're like, that's not what the business that I want. So it's trying to find that perfect one. And I have been researching a lot of them. So I actually do old school Excel spreadsheets where I have them and have their name, number, birthdays, etc., and do it that way until I find the perfect one.
Good answer, right? And until Karen said what she said, I was going to give a couple suggestions, but I'm like, nope, I don't want Karen.
No, that suggestions are always great.
I'm kidding. So in my opinion, right now, KV Core and Chime are at the top. I'd look at those two. All right, guys, put your hand in the air. I know that there's questions out there, and you know me. If you don't put your hand up, I'm just going to call on you. There we go. Chandra, talk to us. I knew you were going to put your hand up.
Thank you so much, Karen, this morning for sharing with us. My question for you is, what does your morning routine look like?
So it varies, usually. So I would say 90% of my business is listings, luckily. So usually it's get up in the morning. I started Pilates. So I try and work that in some time or the other, depending on the time of the class. And I only started to do that a year ago because mental release is like the only time you put your phone down for an hour of the day. But what I do is first thing is approve all my showings. I follow up on everything that we have for the week. My first call in the morning is to Monica. We spoke this morning at 8 o'clock, putting out fires or whatever it is. And usually I set up myself the night before, and I'm a late person. I'm not really a 5 a.m. person. I am the 1 o'clock in the morning person that is, yay, I'm excited. I don't watch TV, so I set myself up. I actually input all my listings, everything like that. I check everything out. I make a to-do list the night before. Everything is in my calendar. I live by my calendar, and it's meetings or travel, whatever it is for board stuff. But I usually first thing in the morning is Monica, and I follow through on everything I have that week, but I have a running to-do list every single day, and then I have a weekly to-do list.
Love it. Love that. Karen, I've got one more question for you. Before I do that, though, I have to take advantage of this opportunity. Please don't be mad at me. I want to say hi to JP. JP, I know you're there. If you could take yourself off mute and talk to me, my friend.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't have headphones. I don't have headphones.
You don't have headphones?
No.
Yes, you do. Just unmute it. So he's my biggest critic, and if I listen to him, I think I'm a failure.
Mm.
He's my manager. Yeah, let me let you come over here.
I don't make it.
That's okay. He said his hair doesn't look good. Let's put on his hat. Yeah, just go.
Hey, John.
You are looking good. You are looking good, my friend.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It is so good to see you. Keep doing what you're doing. Your screen went. Okay, camera's back. It's good to see you, my friend.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And much success to you and your endeavors. Appreciate it.
Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Okay.
All right.
Karen, here's your last question.
Ready?
Your headbuds are not in, so I don't know if you can hear me.
I
Okay.
can hear you. I can hear you.
Good. Okay. So here's the last question. Final words of wisdom. If you could share one more thing with this group, what would that one thing be?
The only thing stopping you from success is you.
Mm.
You are your biggest critic. You are your biggest. So I was really wowed by John's video, because I always say that my work ethic, because people always say, hey, Karen, you're lucky. You get this, you get that, whatever, but they don't see the grind. They don't see the Karen who used to do 2 jobs at a time, who studied all night, who always is persevering, who is always putting every effort in, because I would never fail, because my job is to be an example, or half the example my parents were to me, to my son. So the only thing stopping you is you. Be confident in yourself. Take the initiative to educate yourself, or surround yourself with people that will be your team. Not everyone who's around you are your supporters, but you have to learn to have that ability to understand that, and don't take things personally. Don't let one failure kill all the other wins that you have. So I just think that, we have to just give our all and do the best. And I think it's extremely important to respect the ethics that we have in the code of ethics. And I know a lot of people laugh and say the first thing I have in an open house, and I do open houses for my clients, if that's what they want, is the Realtor Code of Ethics, because I think it's really important, because I'm not here to be challenging you or have an attitude or have an ego. Our jobs is to bring our clients to a place where everybody's happy, or as much as possible. So never let your ego get in the way of getting a transaction done. So don't be that person. Respect what you do. Treat yourself like a professional, because we are professionals. The most important thing we do is, if you don't respect what you do, no one else will. And the public still views us as thinking that we just open doors and say, oh, this is a pink wall and this is a yellow bathroom, or whatever it is. But you have to show your value, and every day showing your value is what makes a difference.
Well, guys, I don't think we could end on a better note than that. Karen, thank you for being here today. Thank you for everything that you've done to support the real estate community. Thank you for the work that you do in the real estate industry. And mostly from me personally, thank you for being a friend, and thank you for being an amazing friend for Monica. I'll always love you, girl.
John, one more thing. We're in a very challenging market that we're coming into, but just remember to persevere, because the people who should be in the business are the ones who are going to fall out of the business, which means there's more opportunity for you.
There you go. All right. Love this.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. I'm John Dietz. Thank you for being a part of Survive to Thrive, and make it a great day until tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. We'll see you
Have
then.
a great day. Thank you.
Everybody.
Bye.